The chances of a toddler killing you are low, but never zero. Welcome back, guys, to the Infinite Agenda. This is episode 4 of our 2-episode Resolve tier list. I hope you enjoy Resolve. I hope you have the resolve to sit through this entire thing, because this is going to be like 8 episodes at this point.
It's supposed to be like one 30-minute video.
We
Welcome back to the Fast and Furious Volume 8.
Underestimating a project
Wait.
Volume 8, Tokyo Drift.
This is to Resolve 2 tier list.
It's not, but Too Fast, Too Furious might have been. Like, I don't know.
Tier list of Tokyo Drift would have been last episode. So what? Wait. This is just list.
This is gonna be so much effort to edit every single one of those titles in there. But I'm going to.
Okay.
Welcome to episode 36 of our 3-part series.
Just keep adding characters to the list. All right, anyways.
It has been 15 years since we began. We have added more characters every single time.
We go over an average of 3.5 characters per, and we add 7 for each additional episode.
Yep.
Approximately 1,000.
We are the exact definition of 1 step forward and 2 steps back.
I can't breathe.
Okay. Who wants to introduce
Cheers,
the first
you're in my
character?
Well, we can just go in order. I'll pull up. We've got Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Who wants to talk about Aang?
Ain't on me.
I
God.
will attempt
said
it,
that wrong.
I guess. Let me just get my thoughts together.
All right, 3, 2,
Resolve.
1.
Resolve. Resolve.
What makes resolve?
What
His resolve
is
to being a monk.
Resolve
What
is when
is?
you
What is the
have
deal
the
with
resolution to do a thing.
Okay, I would
Anything
say-
to anyone for any
Okay.
reason,
I'm just
no
gonna
matter
start,
where
guys.
you are.
Let's
Sorry.
clear the mic.
All right,
Okay,
Athena.
so I would say he has 2 primary types of resolve, and those would be resolve to his culture and his values that he grew up with, and resolve to his mission as the Avatar. And you see them both work together throughout the series to bring together the culmination of, the end of the series and throughout, to be honest. So that's kind of the intro of it.
Okay.
You guys!
I'll take it over.
You just smacked into your mic.
Come
Paul.
on!
You hit it so hard.
All right, let's think about this. Now, I haven't seen Avatar in probably 2.5-ish years, but So the first thing I want to talk about is his initial 100 years back when he got chosen to be the Avatar and then ran away, because that's actually kind of a counterpoint, I think.
Right.
And I might be missing slight details on that, but that's the general gist of it.
I may argue with you
wait,
on that or
So
clarify.
why
but
did he
go
run
ahead.
away again? Because
Okay,
again.
so I'll help you out with the finer details. He was selected to be Avatar pretty early. Everybody is, or they discover that you are. And he was told that he was the Avatar 4 years earlier than they typically would have told. By tradition, you're 16. On your 16th birthday, the sages tell you that you're the Avatar. This gives you time to grow up to a certain extent as a normal person and have that experience before you have to go into very intense training as a 16-year-old, which is still, a teenager. But he was told when he was 12. Very quickly, he started to be set apart from his peers in a way that he didn't get to, enjoy himself or goof off at all. And his father figure, the monk Gyatso, was the only person who was still treating him the same way. He overheard a meeting where they had said they were going to separate him from Gyatso and send him to a different air temple. So he ran away. He wasn't intending to run away for that length of time, of course, but he ran away because he was, upset, he was scared, he wasn't ready to face his destiny yet. He's a 12-year-old.
No, yeah. And I'm trying to pull up all the cons, because I actually believe there's, although they might not outweigh them, there's actually more cons than pros for his resolve. Because we look at, okay, now this is not that anyone would do differently than he did. But when he obviously saw like Monk Gyatso dead and whatnot, he kind of lost control and went into Avatar state. And then same thing kind of happened throughout the show. Would he lose control and whatnot? Emotions take over. So that is kind of the opposite of resolve. But
I don't
if you
think
have
go,
thoughts when you're
emotions
done, by the
taking
way.
over is an exact opposite of resolve. But you are right about the him running away when he was younger is a kind of the opposite of resolve. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your thoughts.
yeah, I'm just saying they're not like okay. So as a 12-year-old, I'm not saying he shouldn't have done those things. I'm just saying like, they don't help his case, I
Right.
guess. I'm actually trying to think of a good example for really high resolve, but I'm not thinking of too many. I'm trying to ignore the very end for now.
Right.
Can I provide a couple of counterpoints to what you were talking
Please.
about? Okay, so this is just my take on it, right? But as a show, Avatar: The Last Airbender, especially for something that's considered a children's show, has some of the most masterful character development I've ever seen in any show. I think we can all agree that we see that as an example in several characters. Zuko is a very popular example for people to use because we see a complete change in his character and it happens very naturally. It's very believable. For Aang's case, I would argue that he has a character arc that changes him quite a bit. Most of the examples you're talking about happened pretty early on in the series. Obviously, we see that he was driven by emotion and fear when he left his air temple originally and ended up frozen in an iceberg for 100 years. He does, by the end of the series, he's way more, committed to his actual mission. That actually starts to happen pretty quickly and would never have done that after that point. The other thing about you were talking about his emotions being a weakness for him potentially, he gets way, way better at that as the series goes on, and it deals with it in that way, right? So the actual picture that I've chosen for the tier list is a picture of him making his decision about what to do with Fire Lord Ozai. And he pulled himself out of the Avatar state to make that decision, letting his principles rule over his emotions.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Okay.
I would just
So
say that there was a
actually,
steady development.
yeah. So I think you're mostly right on that. There is a steady development, but now that I think about it, up until a certain very specific turning point, it almost like a Naruto type of calm went over him and seriousness right as he left the island, went to the turtle, and then talked to the past avatars, and then kind of realized his mission and how serious it was or whatnot. And then that's when he actually had resolve that's deserving of being on this list, in my opinion. Because I think about it, he's standing there by himself, and here comes the Fire Nation ships and everything, and you still have to stay calm and serious, which he did, and he fight extremely hard. So in that case, his resolve is actually quite high after that point. Before that, I mean, everything was kind of shaky. Like he was treating it like it was important, but not on the top of his mind. And then until the last day came, it's like freaked him out or whatever happened.
Would you
Then he
say
actually, yeah.
possibly that he was laying the foundations for his resolve throughout the course of the show and it kind of came to a culmination at that moment?
I guess so. I mean, he's
Like
12,
if
so
you
I'm really
look
not
back
bagging
over
him.
like he did have like multiple moments where his character went through big changes. When he lost Appa for a while, when Azula basically killed him. Um
Yeah.
Moments like that where he just had this moment where he kind of his character went through a change and evolution, and I feel like
Yeah.
it came to a head at that moment you're referencing where he's just waiting for the Fire Nation ships to come to where he is.
hmm Yeah, and another thing is like he had come to terms with he couldn't use the Avatar state during the fight, and he had, I wouldn't say an advantage. It was kind of a close fight before he got trapped inside or he trapped himself inside his own rock formation,
Yeah.
and then it's like it was kind of his only option. It wasn't, in my mind, it wasn't like running away. It wasn't like running away. It was just when you're out of options, that's all you could do. that happens. And then, of course, at that moment that it broke through, you're really out of options. And he, of course, went, or actually, he didn't go Avatar state. He got hit, and kind of triggered it. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. So as far as where he goes on the list,
Well,
I don't know.
I'd like to specify his form of resolve, the form of his resolve, and as to why it shouldn't be considered lesser than others. So, we've discussed more selfish terms of resolve, like in the case of Rock Lee, where it was a resolve about himself, not like in a selfish way, but it was about himself. We've discussed forms of resolve that is purely based on others, such as Minato and Mirio, or Stark. Aang's is a little bit different. It's not the resolve of going against people trying to keep you safe and telling you shouldn't try to use this power, or you shouldn't try this hard because you could hurt yourself, or people saying we don't want you to do that because it's dangerous or it's wrong. It's people telling him, people he trusts, telling him you need to go against your values for the greater good. So it's in this situation where he decides not to kill the Fire Lord, but to take his bending away, which is a method, as you can see in the show. It wasn't 100% guaranteed. Aang almost lost the fight of willpower there. So it wasn't a guaranteed method, and if he had lost, it would have meant death and destruction for a lot of people. But he felt that the values that he held and the values of his people, who no longer exist, were more important to the world than the guaranteed safety of killing the Fire Lord. And that's something that's purely like the result. I think that's a different kind of pure form of resolve, because it's going against what people you know and trust and love are telling you to do, which in my experience is very difficult.
So
Gotcha.
I would say first, yeah, Kyran is correct. He's talking about resolve to his principles, which is very admirable in its own way. I also want to point out specifically about him removing the Fire Lord's bending. That's a method that was described by the Lion Turtle as being a test of the conviction of the purity of your spirit, basically. So if you are to win out over the other person, your conviction has to win out over theirs. Conviction's another word for resolve. So that in and of itself is a feat of resolve.
Okay. That's a good point. And to have more resolve than the Fire Lord in that moment was pretty, or more conviction, pretty respectable. Okay, well, I'm thinking, and this is just me, you guys can argue against it, whatever, but if we're not considering the age being 12, which is, now I realize there's Naruto characters that are 12, but if we're not considering the age being 12 for him, I was thinking D tier, but that's not bad, but you just compare it to kind of Hinata's stuff and whatnot. If we are considering for what he did at the age of 12, I would say C tier.
I mean, I would argue that he's good enough to be in C tier.
Okay.
That's
Thoughts?
I would vote for D tier.
I was personally thinking B tier.
I was thinking like C to B.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking
sometimes
there's
it's really
that range that it could be.
Sometimes I think we have the tendency to, obviously we're comparing these characters with like all different types of characters from different shows, but if you're kind of, I mean, it depends on what scale we're comparing them with. Like if you're thinking about just the Avatar series,
Just
right?
his, then it'd be more
Then-
like S. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I think if we're going between those two, I would vote for B tier.
Maybe it's
Okay.
because I have more of a
I
personal
was just comparing
understanding.
him to everybody basically we've done. That's the only reason I was saying D or
I'm
maybe
looking
C.
at B and C, but for me, I guess it's because as a person who's not superhuman or had the opportunity to sacrifice myself for my friends, I have a more personal understanding of the difficulty of sometimes holding true to your principles and your beliefs, and I don't have an understanding in that heavy of a situation. Because to be honest, if I was in Aang's situation, I probably would have just killed the Fire Lord. For the surety of it, because I would have felt anger at him for what he's done.
it's the easy and sure way.
Exactly. So I don't even know if I would have
Yeah.
had that level of resolve.
I think he held like a lot of commitment to his culture and his beliefs. So throughout the entire thing, while still holding true to his mission of essentially saving his world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would
I actually
personally say
can't quite
B.
compare him to Hinata. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was thinking C, not D, because although his resolve, it seems low compared to everybody else, and it is obviously lower, but Hinata's resolve, which I'm not the one to put him on the list. I mean, he does have resolve, but he is D tier, the lowest tier.
Well,
So I'm
not the
thinking probably
lowest.
C. Now the question is where, because it's pure good, and these are pure personal reasons.
I-
The two there,
Okay, so there are two different types of resolve, right? We're talking basically
Physical
physical
resolve,
resolve,
mental resolve.
a little bit of spiritual resolve for Haku, um, based on things we've already discussed. But Aang's resolve is basically on a matter of principle and spirit and mental and emotional resolve. It's less about the physical side, though he has been in physical danger, keep in mind, for most of the series. There
I'm
were
thinking
definitely
top of
times his
C.
life was in danger. I would argue for top of C. If we're not going as high as B tier, I would argue for top of C.
Yeah, because like again, we're going off of things that happened. Aang never lost an arm and kept fighting. He never really had the chance to do something along those lines. I mean, he never got seriously injured. He did get injured at the end, but kind of using Avatar State there almost nullifies the resolve aspect a little bit because it basically was kind of a power boost instead of him still fighting after something bad happened.
So you're saying he
but
hasn't really
still,
showcased physical resolve that much.
I don't think he's no, not at all. Well, not at all, but not much. So I think that's what I'm thinking. Top of C. What do you guys think?
I would say D. That's my vote, so you can use
I'd-
that to average it out.
You're still on D.
Yeah,
I'm
and
okay
mine
with
would have
top
been.
I actually
C.
see at least
I like top of
one
C.
character that could be D. At least, well, two characters that could be D later coming up. So I don't know. I mean, it's not like it's going to be just Hinata there.
Yeah, there's other characters who could potentially be in D tier.
But again, I mean, it's a lot. That's a lot of physical resolve from the other two.
I just
think
think
his
that the level of
spiritual and mental
resolve
resolve.
from Aang is
Okay.
impressive.
I mean,
enough
I'm
to
okay
rank
with
it
him
top
being
of
there.
C.
If I was gonna just choose it myself, I would either go back of C or top of D. But what
And
you
I
guys
would
have said
say
does
middle
make
of
sense.
B, so I think it balances out to top of C.
Same.
I think top of C is all right.
Yeah, because okay, compare him to Spider-Man, which is the adjacent basically to him right now.
Yeah, that's
It's really close. That's the weird thing about it. It's because
that's
it's
the
kind of on the
thing.
same
When you're
scale,
talking
and
about
it's
D,
not in the same
I'm looking at
scale as the
Spider-Man
other
and I'm
one.
like, what? We
Yeah,
got
no,
Spider-Man in B, but you want Aang in D. I don't think that would have
that's
fit.
the weird thing. Is Spider-Man is not quite very close to Choji, but it's
You
kind of
think
odd.
we
I
have
don't know.
Spider-Man in the wrong place?
Maybe I was just kind of looking at that. I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like
Well,
if we're
actually, I made good points for it because when he was fighting Thanos on Titan and whatnot, like that takes
Yeah.
resolve.
Yeah, I
but
don't
again,
think we should. I don't think we
So
should
in
move
part
characters
11,
that
we're
we've
gonna go through all the
discussed.
characters again. And
Yeah.
all I'm
Next
saying is like
episode, reassessing every character.
I can't argue for Aang being D tier when I have Spider-Man in B tier.
Yeah, I think
And
we should
also
leave.
Spider-Man.
So I think
Yeah,
we
go
should leave Aang in top of C tier, and I think we should leave Spider-Man in bottom of B tier because
That's
I
fine.
remember when we first introduced Spider-Man, I was thinking C tier or lower. But whatever we discussed at the time,
Yeah,
it's been several episodes
exactly.
now. But
Actually,
whatever
yeah,
we
there was some
Yeah,
discussed,
I
point
don't
I
want
where
to
we
remember.
went over it.
rediscuss the
I
characters.
think what I had
so,
said might have.
yeah, we
Yes.
I
won't.
guess.
We
Yeah,
won't
that's fine.
reshuffle tiers then.
It's weird because it's all about how we balance the value of physical resolve and spiritual resolve. Because right, like that's the two differences right now in C tier.
Okay. So next,
The next character we have, which I will probably be the only one who can speak eloquently about, is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. My personal favorite character from the entire Star Wars genre. You can place him wherever you want, because we'll discuss later.
Go ahead and
put him
place
somewhere in the
as-
middle.
Go ahead,
I'll
just pop
put him
him up
somewhere
there.
in the middle. We'll discuss him. We can move him as
Okay,
necessary.
so in the movies, I guess there isn't a ton of physical resolve because, again, in the movies you can't see them, cut off a limb, and he doesn't lose any limbs in the show or anything either because he's a Jedi. He's a pretty good Jedi. He doesn't lose limbs like Anakin. Anyways,
Anakin, you said?
yes, no, I said
Don't
Anakin.
stir fire the Jedi.
So I will go through the situations he went through and the mental and spiritual, I guess, emotional resolve he had to have to go through these situations. So the first situation is episode 1. He's fighting Darth Maul with his master Qui-Gon. He sees his master get stabbed through the heart with a lightsaber and dying on the floor. He goes through and he fights Maul. Now, in this situation, it's not stated, but it's understood because Obi-Wan never becomes a Sith. He does not give in to his anger at this point. So, a Jedi never gives in to their anger or uses hatred to fight, because that's the dark side. And I know from reading and from watching the movies and the shows and everything that Obi-Wan has never succumbed to the dark side. So, in this situation, he fights back his hatred and his anger, and he fights Maul like a Jedi. So that takes a form of resolve, and then he beats him. I don't personally remember a lot of examples in episode 2 where he has a lot of resolve. I mean, he gets his arm and his leg cut, and we don't know how badly because it's a movie. And he falls over and doesn't get up.
So yeah, that's some counterpoints.
Yeah, there's a counterpoint if you want to use cinematic stuff like that as, like, plot stuff like that as a counterpoint. So,
Yeah.
the big points. In the Clone Wars, which the Clone Wars is between 2 and 3, so I'll bring up the Clone Wars animated series. There's a woman that he originally met with his master Qui-Gon before episode 1. Her name is Duchess Satine of Mandalore. And she's someone that he loves. However, because he is a part of the Jedi Order, attachments are forbidden. So he is not technically allowed while in the Order to marry her, unlike someone we know, Anakin.
He wasn't allowed to either.
Yes, and he loved her enough. I know, and we all know that he loved her enough because in the show, when they talk, he tells her that if she had just said the word, he would have left the Order for her. So, this will be a little bit of a spoiler alert, but I don't know. I don't think any of you guys here will end up watching the Clone Wars. Darth Maul is alive, and he comes back. And he ends up killing Satine right in front of Obi-Wan. So, the woman he loves is stabbed through the chest, once again by Maul, right in front of him. And he does not succumb to the dark side. He does not allow the anger or the hatred to overcome him. He continues to remain resolved as a Jedi Master. Now, the biggest test of resolve is when it comes time to fight Darth Vader, previously Anakin Skywalker, in episode 3. This is a man that a person that he has been training since he was 9, who he personally considers as close as a brother, which, for me in that situation, it would be like me ending up having to fight Sage, for real, and intending to kill him. And this will actually be a showcase of a slight lack of his resolve as well. So he goes to fight his brother because he has turned to the dark side. And he ends up cutting off both his legs and his remaining arm. However, he fails to kill him. So his love ends up winning over his resolve in this situation. But the showcase of all of that, my main point is more or less that he has never even once succumbed to the dark side. He never let the hatred or anger control him, which I believe, in my opinion, as a human, hatred and anger are the easiest emotions to let control you.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy. For me, I mean, playing video games, it's so easy to let it just come up out of nowhere and bop, and it takes control of you, and it doesn't let go. And not a single point throughout his entire life has he allowed that to overcome him.
Yeah, it's kind of insane to think about, just a mental state to be able to basically not get angry and not let it consume you when 3 events like that happen, basically.
Yeah, not even like long term, just not even at that moment.
I'll just raise 2 like very slight counter resolve points, not very much at all, which is just like I guess episode 2, which you pointed out, he got hit twice. And actually I think he was like laying on the ground conscious, and the pillar was about to fall on his hand. Anakin, here goes the point. Yoda held it up. He basically just looked up at it.
That was obviously a plot point, though, because they had to get Yoda distracted.
I understand it was a plot point, so I'm not going to stay on it too long.
Right.
And then, although this is probably not much of a choice. Like, I don't think it was a choice because I think he was knocked out. But when fighting Count Dooku, he got knocked out and then like kind of
Yeah.
pinned. Um,
He did
but
get
if we're
knocked out. Yeah.
comparing him to Rock Lee, he wouldn't have been pinned. You know what I'm saying? He got knocked out.
And you guys won't hurt my feelings as to where you put him in here. I'll say where I
No,
think you should
well,
put and stuff like
again,
that. So.
with what you had said, I obviously haven't seen the Clone Wars, but with
Right.
that situation,
Gosh, because you guys are a bunch of uncultured people. He's always SS in my heart.
Swine.
okay. Now, real quick, let me just ask you, where would you put him?
Where would I personally put Kenobi?
Yes.
Let me look.
And you can be honest. I mean, because I already have kind of an idea from what you've said, and very small, but not much at all.
With how we're comparing mental and spiritual resolve as opposed to physical resolve, I would probably put him either somewhere in the middle of B tier or lower A tier.
I was thinking A tier. And the reason being is the mental resolve for like what with the Force being like the object of can easily consume you when something happens like that.
Right.
Is just like I don't know if anyone on this, well, not anyone, but not a lot of people on this list would be able to do that. Like the anger takes over, and that's part of resolve. That's part of it. But
Yeah.
when you have to somehow
I
not
mean,
let anger
gone
take
is
over
like
when you
the
see
literal
stuff like that happens in front of you.
Yeah, gone is
it's
like the
like-
literal opposite of that case.
Yeah, it's the polar opposite. So
Right.
I was thinking A. Now the question is where. I'd probably say bottom of A because Aizawa physical is like, we've already gone over how insane
It's
Aizawa's
intense,
situation was
yeah.
there. Hinata obviously was just sacrificing her life, whatnot. And then Deku goes through more pain than almost anyone on this list on
Right.
a daily basis, but not really daily.
A fight basis.
So
yeah.
I'm thinking bottom of A.
Frequent
What do you guys
basis.
think?
I'm okay with bottom of A. I would say that Kyran kind of summed this up pretty well. That it's not so much about his physical resolve.
Yeah, it's
It's really on a spiritual level, his resolve. But it is true that the fact that he hasn't given in to the dark side at any point during that is extremely impressive. So bottom of A is okay for me. I don't think he outperforms anybody else in A tier, so I
No.
would have
Yeah.
argued against it if you guys had wanted to push him further up towards the top of A. But this is acceptable to me.
Yeah. And keep in mind, I
He's
didn't think he would be this high right when we started talking about him, and I hadn't really thought about it much. But
Well, it's because
obviously
it-
I didn't know the Clone Wars situation and whatnot.
It doesn't
but
it doesn't state these facts in the movies.
yeah, and like I didn't really know too much about how the Force and the dark side and the anger taking over kind of turns you to a dark side
Right.
as well. But yeah, like if I didn't know any of that stuff, I mean, he'd probably be in D tier. I don't know exactly what the point was, but yeah.
That's why I had to state the
Okay.
fact. Ledge?
All right,
No, I don't
Glad
have
you
anything to
are-
add to this.
Okay.
Athena,
I'm good.
nexto.
Oh, that's me. Okay, hold on.
Oh
Hold
yeah,
on,
I'm
sorry,
the one
sorry.
with the mouse.
I was just thinking about like random things. I don't know.
We
All
just
right.
A tier last
We've
week.
got
All right.
Chairman Netero from
That's a good
Hunter x
point.
Hunter,
Sure.
which
Okay,
I've
Ledge.
recently realized I've been saying Hunter
Chairman.
x Hunter wrong the entire time. By the way,
What, Hunter x Hunter?
I don't think most people actually say the X.
I know people don't say the X.
Some
That's
people
weird.
do, some people don't.
They
I,
don't.
so I know. I noticed it's like a split. Some
Dude,
people I
I don't-
hear them say
Great
the X.
War.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm
Hunter
just
but
gonna
it's
Hunter
say
versus
supposed
Hunter
to be
x
Hunter
Hunter.
Hunter.
I'm just gonna say
I'm not
Hunter
gonna
x
get
Hunter
on other
anyways.
people's either. It
Okay.
sounds cool either way. to
It's like
me,
saying
so.
mango instead of manga.
All right. Chairman.
Each is correct in
Exactly.
in their own way.
Okay, wait, whoa! I just realized. Oh, I forgot a little bit of the chairman's attributes.
Oh, what?
Okay.
Do you mean like the
I'm
main
gonna
point?
say no, not that.
No.
Oh my gosh, actually, yeah. Wait a minute.
I just
No,
Maybe
I think it-
possibly yes.
I think it might be SS. Hold on, guys. I
There's
just
a,
for-
there's
I
a
forgot
lot of
about the
points
Kind of
here.
Ledge's time to shine here, maybe.
Okay, I know Ledge wants to talk about it. Let me just get my thoughts out real quick because
ahead.
before like thinking about it, obviously he has high resolve. I was kind of thinking of the last fight and whatnot, but what the actual resolve is, what the heck was that? Okay, what the actual resolve is the well, not the one thing, but the one of the biggest things was the training he went through. What was it? 8,000?
Oh, I feel like
guys
it was
remember the
more than
number?
that. Wasn't it
Maybe
10,000?
10,000, but
10,000
okay,
what?
let's.
Like
I'd like to remember it,
punches?
but the 10,000 punches a day,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's all he
yeah.
did. 10,000 punches each day.
every single day, and he eventually got it down to an hour. Like, Oh my gosh! Yeah.
He kept punching
Okay.
faster and faster. At first, it took a whole day. You would have to
This
just
character
start
is
over
literally
again.
based around it because a lot of people could
Jeez.
debate the choice to use the Black Rose or Rose something bomb at the end was a bad choice. But in his mind, and at that moment, it actually wasn't a bad choice. Mirio was a humongous threat, no matter how it seemed like Mirio was calming down and kind of switching.
You're saying
Miriam,
Mirio.
sorry,
His name
sorry,
is
sorry.
Meruem.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Miriam.
don't like how
Lemillion is a threat.
Miriam. I wish it was Miriam.
It's Meruem.
I know. It's just okay. The king, Sama.
Yeah. Osama.
Osama. Okay. Bin Laden.
I
Anyway.
knew you were gonna say it. I
Waiting for it.
knew it.
I had to. It's there.
Everybody else knew that was coming. I didn't. I was just like imagining like stupid Poof's face saying Osama.
Okay. Well, anyway, in that fight against him, where Miriam is basically not really trying, or it was kind of a weird fight. I really liked it, but and it ended up being a choice that he probably didn't have to make, but there's no way he could have known that Miriam was gonna kind of almost turn good. But again, so that does show resolve because it's sacrificing your life for the greater good, and which did not even kill him. Well, it did, but in a way. So yeah.
No,
Glad you have
that's
anything
an
to say?
insane form of resolve there. I feel like we sort of brushed over putting the bomb in the chest because that was going into the fight with the understanding that like, yeah, I'm probably gonna lose this fight,
guy.
and yeah, I'm gonna detonate a nuclear bomb in my body. Like putting that in your body in the first place.
Wait, did he
Did
put
he?
anything in his body? No,
It was
just
inside of his heart.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the
There was
picture
actually something in there?
displayed.
Mhm.
The picture displayed is him inserting two of his
No,
fingers.
I know he
Yeah.
inserts
into
the
his
fingers
chest.
into his heart, but I didn't know there was.
I think that
something
was
put in
stopping
there.
his heart, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, stopping his
Yeah,
heart would
I
trigger the
didn't think he
bomb.
physically put something in there, did he?
have to
It
look
may
this
have
up.
actually been inside his body.
I
It's
have to
been a
look
while
this
since
up.
I've watched this.
I
though,
thought it was a
so-
technique that had to do with.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
be accurate.
Oh
Let's
wait,
not
no, it
spread
was
mis-
technology. They were talking about it being technology or something.
I
Or, like,
do know that his heart stopping was going to set it off. I'm not.
Yep.
I'm no longer 100%.
It's a poor man's rose, by the
That's
way.
not it is 'cause it's quite old. Like you just die, and then wait, what was he 159 or something?
No, I don't think he was that old. No, wait, actually, maybe he was
Yeah,
because
He was old, guys.
Killua's grandfather said that he was old when Killua's grandfather was a baby.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, he was literally
was
plus
already
100
old
at
at
some
that
point. It was like whatever he was, 61 plus 100. It was something weird, but it was like
His nin usage must have extended his life then.
Oh, it was
mid-100s.
implanted in his chest, according
Okay,
to
it was
the
implanted
fandom.
in him then.
At
So-
what point did it say when?
He implanted it in his
Probably
chest
right
before
before.
the fight. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So like that
knowing
level of
what-
resolve to just have someone open up your chest to implant a bomb before you go to a fight, with the determination to fight and most
Didn't-
likely lose.
Didn't he also cut his ponytail off before he went to that fight? He had a longer ponytail before, and
Yeah, he did
Now
a lot.
that-
off.
That
Which
is an
is-
intense
yeah,
level of
I remember
resolve.
that.
Like
Symbolism.
taking a pair of
I was
scissors
thinking
and
the
like
exact
No,
same
no,
I
thing.
could
no.
never
Whoa.
cut
It's
my
a
own hair.
there's
Like
a
that's
cultural
impossible.
symbolism
So brave.
of cutting your hair off.
Make a new tier. Make a new tier. He cut his hair off.
New tier,
Literally,
hit row.
it's three
Then
S's, but
completely
like
wrecking steel.
no, look, it's three S's, but they're the cash signs.
Cut hair off.
Bald.
Thank you. Saves me a
Okay.
lot of work.
What's funny though is you think about him. One of my favorite moments was when he smacked Pito. Like Pito has, well, she has like the mindset of basically she's
thought
pretty
I
much
would.
unbeatable, other than maybe fighting the king for some reason.
I don't
Yeah.
know who
And
can
she's
beat
still-
those guys, so.
Okay, so she has the mindset of basically being able to beat anybody. So she's going up into the sky to fight both of them, not knowing the skill level, but not caring. And when he smacks her, you got to think like that smack was earned through so much practice. Like it wasn't luck, it wasn't whatever. He literally earned the ability to just beat her completely without her being able to even like blink or move her eyes. So yeah, I'm thinking probably SS. Now that I think about it, but
Now
do you have anything to say, Ledge, about it?
Yeah, either SS or S sounds good. Like top of S or bottom of SS.
Well, let's
If
compare him to the top of
you
S.
consider with the top of S with Gon, aside from his insane training, is the
Netro has to outperform Gon.
yeah, which is tough because Gon also makes the decision to, no matter how the fight turns out, to sacrifice his life. Although he had
Keep
the
in
intent to
mind-
win.
I think that's a little different than literally killing yourself with your own hand, though.
That's
I
very
also
true.
think that Netero dedicated literal years, if not decades, of his life
Yeah,
to
it was
perfecting his
crazy.
training, which is an everyday type of resolve, but it's one that's insane for someone to actually meet.
I think we're gonna have
Yeah,
to put him in
I-
front of Mirio.
You'll have to talk to Sage about that one, my guy. You'll have to clear that one with him.
Possibly. Okay,
With
well,
the, with
if we
what
look
Ledge has said, with the fact that I kind of didn't think about this, he literally killed himself to set off
Mhm.
the bomb that he had implanted in his chest before
With
he
his
went to
own
a
hand,
fight with
like,
the
it
intention
wasn't
to
an
lose.
accident.
Yeah. He
well, keep in
didn't.
mind that's similar to
It wasn't an easy
never mind.
suicide method. He inserted his fingers into his chest and stopped his own heart.
And then on top of that, he did go through a higher level of resolve of training than Mirio did.
Did you pop your headphones off for just a sec?
You mean Athena?
Thank you, Athena. Wait, can
We're
you still
real bad
hear
with
me?
names here.
We're giving Kyran his workout
Okay,
in
guys,
editing.
that's kind of similar
Hey.
to my guy in a way, though. Like almost exactly.
Gon's is similar to Mike, guys. I don't think
No,
that
I
Netero's
mean
is
Netero.
similar.
Well, the
choice to
training
kill
level
yourself.
plus
No, that's
No, I know.
I think
just
it's the
that
exact
fact.
same as Gon's, which Ledge had said is not the same as inserting two fingers in your chest to kill yourself. Because both Gon and Guy made the same decision to use a power that pulled their life force to use as an ability.
But Gon
Yeah.
didn't know he was gonna die. I don't think.
Yes, he did.
He said
That's what the
he didn't
contract
care if it
was.
killed
Is
him.
he
Didn't
decided
care,
to use the
yeah.
rest of his life
He
energy
said,
to-
"I'll use it all."
Okay, so you're saying the physical act of hurting yourself by puncturing your own heart was the difference from him.
That takes a lot of resolve when you
feel
just think about it.
yes. It's different than just making a decision to use
All
a
right,
power
yeah, you
know
can
will
come back.
kill you.
All right. Okay, so if we look at training, no one has more resolve when it comes to training than Netero. Period. Rockley
think
is
you're
second.
correct.
Mike Guy and are tied. Rockley and Mike Guy are kind of tied.
The number of years that Netero spent
What was it
training
on the
in that
first
way,
set of 10,000? Like 3 days or something.
maybe.
And then as
he
soon
just
as
kept
he
doing
like,
it, and they
remember
were
he's not eating. So it's like you're sitting there, and then you go to
was
sleep for an
basically
hour,
absorbing
and then
life
the
force
sun
from
raises
around
like
him
right
to
away, and then he has to
stay
do it
alive.
again. And then that
Exactly.
happened for I don't remember if he trained for 60 years like that out there or 100, but it was just so many years.
I think
So,
it was
like,
a
this-
few decades out like that, and then he went.
Yeah.
I remember he went to a martial arts
Mhm.
dojo, and he beat the sensei there extremely easily, and the sensei literally asked him to train him, and he took over that
Okay.
dojo.
Just
He didn't
casually.
beat him.
So-
he just threw one punch.
All of this being, I
Did you say
believe,
one punch?
before he even started to master
One
Nen.
punch! All right, yeah. So this
If I'm not
character, which
mistaken.
it's kind
Sure,
of this
physical
character is
ability.
almost built for this list because
He is.
it's it's a good character. It's not my favorite Hunter x Hunter character. I don't think it's the strongest character in the show. Debatable, might be. It's close.
I mean,
though.
he didn't
Um,
beat Meruem, so he obviously wasn't.
No, yeah. So
Said he didn't. I mean,
Well,
Well,
he not by
technically did.
himself. No.
I don't count the
Not-
poor man's rose as technically beating him.
The-
so
But imagine if instead of like 160 years old, he was like 40.
Oh, that's true. At the height of his ability. Look at that.
yeah.
So
So yeah,
at
this
40, he
character
hadn't
kind of
perfected
based around it.
everything,
If this tier list was top anime characters, he wouldn't be in SS. But all right, so you guys are debating putting him behind Rock Lee but ahead of Mirio.
Yes.
That's
Obviously,
what Kyran
I
suggested.
prefer Mirio over Netero as a character.
As
As
a
a
character.
character, yeah.
Oh,
But
we are
that
discussing resolve.
Level
Okay, yeah,
of
'cause-
resolve.
What Mirio has going for him is basically one very brief instance of max resolve on an insane level, whereas Netero has 60 years of just beaten into himself resolve,
Constant
and
high
then
level resolve.
the choice to kill yourself basically.
And before that, the choice to
so
put
yeah,
a bomb in your chest.
both those combined, yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely past Mirio.
I have to say, yes, I agree with Kyran.
I'll
as
allow
well.
it. You know how much I like
Uh,
Mario.
wait.
Yeah.
But
It
I
is
feel like we should get
acceptable.
Athena's take on Netero as well. This is a character she's familiar with.
I mean, you guys covered pretty much all of it, to be honest with you. He has an incredible level of resolve from his history, from his last moments, and his commitment to, defeating Meruem. And I mean, you guys pretty much honestly covered
Yeah.
most of it that I can think of.
If we're honest, do we even really think that Rock Lee's resolve is higher than Netero's?
Well, here's the thing.
We
and
went
that
over
is
this.
obviously a question, but
Did we?
at the end of the day, the sacrifice that I'm going to talk about Minato for a second. The sacrifice Minato made was higher than Netero's, but
I do believe that Minato
So,
outranks Netero.
if we look
By
at,
I'm
far,
asking
because of
whether
how
we think
I know I'm just going over, so it's
Okay.
clear Minato is better than Netero. Rock Lee and Minato was a really close argument.
and I
Um,
didn't like that it was close because I completely disagree because of the form
True,
that Minato's resolve
but
took.
because yes, the form of Minato's resolve is simply better and more admirable, even though obviously Rock Lee's
Well,
is
it's
admirable, but
harder. It's a harder decision to make, I think, which means you have to have more resolve.
Yeah, so with Rock Lee's case, I'm probably not gonna. I don't want to go over it again, like for every detail to prove that he belongs here. But, yeah. Without going over the details, just you guys should just remember them, so I don't have to go over them.
I don't know because Rock
What do you guys
Lee's
think?
Rock Lee's is
episode.
largely focused around his how. Wait, how far have you read, Athena?
She's seen
32.
Volume 32.
Is that
that. She
after?
knows what happened in the Gara fight.
It's
Oh,
a
it's
few
not. Okay.
volumes into Shippuden.
Okay, so the one event that we've discussed about Rock Lee's resolve, we already know that. So that's one thing, but that's not equivalent to stabbing yourself in the chest. And aside from that, it's shown in his training against opposition. I think that Netero's the way he trained.
Wasn't really opposition. Well, that was the thing. Was Netero's training was
I think it's more intense
true
than Rock Lee's.
choice,
I think it's more.
kind of. No, it's more intense training than anybody's. That's not the point. But with Rock Lee's being a world of ninjas, Netero isn't a world of fighters, and he is a fighter. Rock Lee is in a world of ninjas, but he's not really a chakra ninja. So there's that point on top of it. There's also the point of somehow being passed out, but have enough resolve just burn into your entire
I forgot
being
about
that you're
that.
standing up. That's
I think-
that was why he's up there, not the training.
Okay.
I think
Netero
Rock
was
Lee
missing
took
an
part-
arm and a leg at the point that he plunged 2 fingers
I
into
mean,
his chest.
he
to
has
kill
a broken
himself.
leg, a shattered arm, shattered leg, and he's
Missing
passed out. Well,
an
sorry, I was
arm
talking about Rock Lee.
and a
but yeah.
leg.
I'm
He
talking about
used
Rock Lee
his
right now.
own resolve to
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
the bleeding from his cut off arm
that was
and
probably
leg.
Okay,
Man.
so Steel Ledge was trying to say something when you literally interrupted him. Go ahead, Ledge.
Rock Lee took 500 laps around the village every day for like his whole life.
Good lord, never mind.
On a handstand.
All right, I think that's where he belongs then.
Yeah. So like I was gonna say, I'm not fighting really hard against him going ahead of Rock Lee. I love Rock Lee, but also Netero.
Rock Lee didn't
kinda
kill
insane.
himself though.
No, killing yourself does not mean resolve. Being where your brain
For a
is shut off,
purpose,
but your
though.
body's still standing up because the resolve is like into your fibers is resolve. Like that's the definition. Like you think
Plunging
resolve, you
your
think Rock
fingers
Lee.
into your chest to stop your own heart
That's a choice.
isn't
Yeah, I can
above
just
that.
control the muscles to do that. Whereas you can't control the muscles when you're
There's
passed
a
out.
aspect to that.
See,
though.
no, they're not. They're not.
Dang it, Sage!
He'll get it eventually.
So you guys are gonna hear a lot of beeps, beeps, beeps. All right, good luck. Have fun.
Okay.
I'll turn them down.
Just beat the entire audio of the whole
Next.
I'm
podcast.
normally not
They
bad
were
about that,
constantly
but hey.
dropping names.
There
Okay,
is
so
no
if I
next.
get this
We've gone
straight,
way over
everybody
time,
but
guys.
Steel is fine with this.
Yes,
I understand where you're coming from, Steel.
If I am outvoted, I will accept it.
it's already.
But I
do
feel-
understand where you're coming from. We're talking about
Wait.
SS tier, the top 3.
I know-
Like,
I
it's
know
already
Sage's-
Been
been
outvoted.
consider
I know
the
Sage's and I know
outcome
mine.
of
What is
said
Ledge's
resolve.
standpoint?
You
Ledge.
have to. This is just a tune
No,
in exam
no,
fight.
No, Steel.
I know.
We're on to the
it's
vote.
not
Oh,
scale,
Sage,
it's not
Sage.
scale.
We're on to the vote. Ledge, what's your vote?
Rock Lee above Netero.
Athena.
I agree.
I agree.
Hey, if she agrees,
It's 4 to
that's
1.
crazy.
Sorry, Steel. And with that, we have to wrap up this episode because we've probably gone quite a bit over time.
Wait, is that
You
like
wasted,
3?
like 20 minutes on that.
Yeah,
one.
3.
Yeah.
We're going down each time.
All right, it's getting worse and
We're
worse.
doing less characters
Don't
each and
forget to
every
tune
time.
in
Well-
for episode 12 in like
We
3
added 3 and went
I-
over 3.
I hope you guys
Wait,
are.
Oh no!
Okay, that was a nothing episode. Could we
Well,
added 3?
I hope you guys are enjoying the tier list. I certainly am. But thank you for joining us if you've made it this far. Again, if actually, I'm not gonna say that if you have any recommendations, add them. We already have too many. Keep it to yourself. If you disagree with
The one person watching.
if you disagree with any of our points, just put it in the comments and let us know. But thanks for watching.
Peace.